There you go.
Yep.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. See
Good.
you. How are you?
I'm good. Hang on, I'm just gonna turn
Good.
my view off because gross. Or, hang on. Okay, good. I'm good. Um, I actually have just gotten a lot from everybody else's shares. That was really great. Uh, I think sometimes, well, what I really appreciate about the way you guys do the Fetters work is that it's not a linear
Mm,
process. Uh, I kind of came into inquiry through the relational stuff. So I did a lot of the work of Byron Katie.
Mm.
That's been my main practice for a long time. And so I kind of feel like I stepped in Fetters 4 and 5. And sometimes I like I have experiences of glimpses and stuff, but sometimes I don't even know if I've actually seen through the first Fetter. And then I get a bit um I mean, I'm actually fine.
You're welcome.
So, but I think, well, I mean, we could also absolutely go deeper into that. But it's such a common thing for people to question because, again, I think certain certain traditions and certain teachers really propose that it's like seeing through the self is this like one time
Yeah.
spontaneous event which will forever change everything from now on, and that there can be like no vestiges of what you ever saw as yourself before then or something like that. And for like 99 point whatever percent of us, it's just not the way it is because
Well, nothing is permanent, first of
well,
all.
first of
Nothing's
all,
permanent.
absolutely, but also that we can have really profound experiences, yeah. But like we talked with, was it John about that you can have these experiences, but then the conditioning goes back online. You still have, all the decades that you've been alive has been shaping the way that you are interpreting the world right now. And that generally doesn't just change with a light switch.
Mm.
So it's really normal to have very clear conceptual understandings about there being no self, really, clear experiences where every time you try to find it or you can't find it, or, really like, even big peak states where that sense of self drops away. But the conditioning is has been a functional part of your existence as a human being, and so it kind of keeps coming back online.
It's like
And
riding a bike.
it
You
is
need to practice every day. Yeah.
exactly, so it's kind of like practicing to not have the default mode network online all the time. It's practicing to not have that particular ego structure in place all the time. And there was a quote that I heard recently that I really liked, and it was, if I can remember it, but it is basically like awakening is like this, kind of one-time event, and then liberation is the decades of work that you do to kind of undo all of the conditioning that's still there. So I think that's a maybe a more helpful way of looking at it too.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean that has been totally been my experience. And also that it's very it's like I kind of have tools to meet myself at all different sides of that diamond. Like sometimes I
Yeah.
need to be a little heavier on like the wisdom teachings, and then I need
Yeah.
to go a little bit more to the compassion. And I guess the it's almost like that tension starts to come towards each other until you realize that the inquiry is the same as the meta.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
that I think that's kind of, and I guess it's funny when you said that. I think it was David who you said it to about how like the that almost like the experience of going back into the identification after the glimpse
Yeah.
is kind of evidence for the non-self
Yeah.
in a way, because and I that just blew my mind a little bit, because it's like, of
Yeah.
course. And
Yeah.
it's a really nice way to flip it. And I think recently, I don't know, I just like the system. There's been a lot of like kind of mysterious chronic illness and a lot of very heavy
Mm.
depression, very heavy anxiety. And it's, for like 10 or 15 years now, every time it's like, oh, well, the minute I the minute it's accepted, like radically, radically, radically accepted is when it kind of expands into a new kind of consciousness, but not one that could have been projected. And
Yeah.
so I guess, um, yeah, I guess just trusting that. And I guess just sometimes it's nice to have, people cheerleading and being like, because sometimes I'm like,
Mhm.
how am I still like, oh, life just feels so hard. But I think it's just because I want to go at it with a scalpel and I want, like, that's just what I'm here for. I don't know why. It's what I'm doing. And because otherwise I suffer. Like, so, okay, cool. Um, but
I also think it's so I really think that a thing that is overlooked massively in the awakening community is our body. And I
yeah.
know I've said the B word so many times, but it's like the body is so important. I mean, it's only 5% of our personality that is conscious. So
Mm,
everything you can say, I am this, I am that, and I see that all your experience that you talk about is only 5%. 95% is subconscious. You're not aware of it. So when something suddenly gives you depression, you have no idea why.
Mm.
But there needs to be that unconditional acceptance for a system that is working in a way that we have no idea of why. But I can create space for that. I can meet that with compassion and kindness. I can, you know, do shaking exercises and I can dance ugly to drum music and I can, creep and crawl and I can do so many things for this feeling of depression to be moved about. So it's not a thundercloud over my head, but I can actually move my body with the depression, express my depression with the depression with painting and singing and dancing and running naked in the woods or whatever, that I can express it in so many different ways. I'm not limited to how I am supposed to be depressed.
mm.
And that moves what I talked with um who was it with the knee.
Oh, Ilvo.
Yeah, Ilvo, yeah. What I talked with Ilvo about, that when we have that idea of pain in the knee, we're limiting the experience. So when we have that idea, oh, I feel depression coming again, we're limiting the experience instead of having like, thank God it's here again. Now I'm gonna dance. Now I'm gonna work with. Now I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna draw it. I'm gonna sing it. So there's an expression of it. And I know we don't want to dance and feel and all of that when we're depressed, but what I mean is just having that embodiment with it. How
Yeah.
does this depression want to be expressed? If you were the depression, how would you express yourself? And then allow the body to experience and express without the conscious mind judging, this is silly, this is not real, you shouldn't do this, or anything like that, because it's just fucking 5%. On a committee, the 5% have nothing to say. So just, stay in the corner and let the 95 experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I actually, I love that. And I think it's taken me a lot of work and courage to be able to approach it like that.
Yeah.
Because society is so hell-bent on pathologizing things that
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
a long time you're like, there's something wrong with me. And it's only been in the last kind of 6 months or so that I've just it's also just like the gift of no escape.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
it's like it was just like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna
Yeah.
do? More medication or whatever? Like tried all that
Yeah.
shit. It didn't work for
Yep.
me. All
Yep.
right, this is the path and this is the doorway. So I love that you say that. And like I think yeah, everything can be tinged as a way to get rid of it, of course. So for me, it's like kind of the
So make
very
it, yeah,
yeah, it's like actually the very, very subtle sitting just with the sensations in the body
yeah,
and then kind of bloom open or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and also have that. I mean, if you have had depression your entire life, it's probably not going to go away, is it? It's like your foot. It's been there always. It's probably not going to disappear. So we might as well get used to it. We might as well, acquaint ourselves with it and like, hello, my dear friend, here you are again. What are you going to teach me this time around? And
Well,
so yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And what it would like literally just like what if this isn't wrong? Like
If
what if
there's
there's
nothing
nothing
wrong,
wrong with
that There's
Like,
nothing wrong with you.
no, exactly.
That's the whole point. We have
Yeah.
this idea that all of us need to fit into a neat box. I mean, I'm autistic, so I'm in a different shaped box than other people. My point is that there are nobody that fits in that bloody box.
Oh,
Nobody fits in it. So
yeah.
so just putting labels and everything for us to understand, oh, she's depressed. Okay, talk quietly. Don't, hide the knives, all of that. Instead of just it's just another expression of life in this neurochemical psychosocial constellation.
Astrological.
It's just another expression. There's nothing wrong with you. This is how you express yourself today. And it's a bit what we spoke with John about, that he's experiencing all of these things on a very, very short time period. Like I said, it's on Tuesday, he's experienced everything. So of course for him that's like, whoa. I mean, he can't even find his footing in where he is. Um, but there's something to be said about just flowing with that,
Mm.
you know?
Oh, girl, girl. Oh, I totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That kind of, yeah. And then all of the like non-dual states that everybody talks about that
Mm.
I've been chasing
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
suddenly come online and you're like, "Oh, this is what they were talking about."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's just another expression of ego. It's
yeah.
another expression of selfing. It's just another way, but I am now, more enlightened than I was before. Well, you're
Yeah.
still you. You're still presenting as if you are one-ish thing here,
Yeah, exactly.
which is just another expression of the same neuro, bio, endo, and
Yeah.
there's no one in the middle. It's a bit like what I talk about with the Google Maps, that when you have Google Maps, you have that you're standing here and you can look 360 around in Google Maps and you can see everything around you. So what happens when you unpin? That is what I want people to do with the awakening curriculum. That
Yeah.
you start by being in that point where you have the starting point. And this is how the world looks when you're standing on that street. This is how it looks. What happens when you unpin? When there's not a starting point? When there's just a flowing, whatever is arising right now, and there's no opinion about if this is right or bad or good or depressed or autistic or anything. It just is. It's just an arising in this moment. Now I have a glass of water and everything feels different. It's that constant movement that is happening. It's also why I almost get like hives when people talk about, that the self have dropped and now I'm here and I'm not, and constantly forever I'm going to be that non-self. Nothing is permanent.
Mm.
I mean, this second is not like the next second. So that nothing can be permanent. There cannot be a permanent non-self anywhere.
Mm.
What do you think people are actually saying when they say that? Like, as in, like, what do you think? What do you think? Yeah, I'd be curious.
I,
Like, is
I, it's a person to person experience, I think. But I think that we're living our lives and we are growing up as kids and becoming adults, and we have this idea of an I being here, where the default mode network in the brain, it's very, very clear. Suddenly you can have an experience where that goes offline while you are awake. Not awake, awake, but not
Not
dreaming,
sleeping.
not
Yeah.
sleeping.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when that goes offline just for a moment, the entire charade falls apart. The entire house of cards falls apart, and you see through the entire delusion in a blink, in a glimpse.
Yeah,
And that is just one little new path in the brain that has been created. That needs to be worked with more times for that to be as as much a habit as the last 30 years have been in me being centered in an eye.
Mhm.
yeah,
So
right.
I think that little path where the default mode network was not active is what people call the glimpse of an awakening, or the first glimpse of a non-self.
Yeah,
It's just a shift in the brain.
yeah. And okay, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And then eventually seeing that the default mode network is just as much that freedom as the glimpse was itself, like
It's the
That's
same brain. It's
It's
the same
well,
brain.
that's
exactly.
the thing.
Yeah.
The irony about all of it is that if you were like striving to earn millions of dollars and start a company and be CEO and collect Lamborghinis and all this stuff, we would look at that and be like, oh, that's so egotistical. It's so self-centered. But for some reason, in the spiritual pursuit, people do effectively the same thing. It's like, I'm going to collect experiences. I'm going to be, the best meditator. I'm going to be the best.
I've been on
And it's
all the
the,
retreats.
the truth is, like, it's coming from the exact same starting point of reinforcing this sense of self that needs something to be better to feel okay. But that, even though, it kind of gets the spiritual stamp of approval because you're sitting on a meditation cushion for 12 hours as opposed to eating in a gourmet restaurant, it's still coming from that same point of the I that's there. And as much as the spiritual practices are supposedly self-negating and saying that this self doesn't actually exist, when the way people talk about it is constantly reinforcing that sense of the
Mm.
self who has finally gotten something out of it, who has become awake, who has seen through the old. So it's just
And if you
they're
pay me a lot of money,
well,
I am so I can buy my
that
Lamborghini, I am going to,
that too.
also enlighten you.
That too. But even in the like, even when people are just, in all good faith, just doing the practices and really, just being a spiritual seeker and really
Mm.
getting there, it can be it's like a very subtle form of identification where the
Mm.
self is like approved of in a way or kind of goes underneath the radar. So it's like, but that's, it doesn't count, like, but I'm becoming more enlightened. I'm becoming a more awake version of that and realizing that the self doesn't exist. But in all the words that we use, it's very clear that that is still online, right? There's still something there that's being reinforced in that practice. So I think the more it becomes clear, within this whole system itself, that there was never one permanent individual locus of that experience, no individual that was in there. And you start to recognize, or the system starts to recognize more and more that there are new expressions every
Mm.
moment, like
Mm.
Pernilla was saying. Every moment is fresh and experienced differently depending on the context that you're
Mm.
in. It's a context dependent self experience that's arising, which is why you can go onto a meditation retreat. And in the context of that retreat, you can have really mind altering, shifting experiences where what you took to be the self doesn't exist the way that it did anymore. And then you go back to work, and all of a sudden, the context is that you are back in that role of, the worker doing whatever it was, and you're worried about your job stability and all of that. And then you go visit your family for a weekend, and now you're in the role of the 8-year-old who's right back in the family dynamics, and all of that comes back online. It's because there isn't one individual you who is like timelessly, progressing through time in a way that is constantly, gathering these experiences and evolving and all that. It's a shifting kaleidoscope of experiences all happening within this constellation of a body.
yeah.
So it's in that we're constantly reinforcing the self accidentally when we
Mm.
forget that this is just this particular expression is happening right now, and that is it,
Oh, it's
right?
like the yeah, it's like the we're always like a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. Like
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
these patterns because there's so much buy-in when you think I need to improve because then the thingy comes back and you're like,
yeah,
how the fuck is it still here? But when that's
exactly.
gone, you're like, oh, this is here. Let's curiously look at it because obviously
Yeah,
there's some charge in the system that could use some attention and love. Oh, I
yep,
love that.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I think people who default into, okay, well, now I've seen through the self, it's always changed, nothing's ever gonna, it's never gonna come back. I've seen it and all of that. There's a lot of that kind of wishful projection about it.
Yeah.
And in some cases, and I'm
Mm.
not saying like this is like that they're doing this, maliciously or anything, but I think there's like an unconscious um uh what's the word I'm looking for? Not ignorance is too loaded of a word for that. It's like you're just you're missing it. You're not even aware that part of that kind of self-belief or is still just lingering in some vague way. And there's an assumption that that is going to continue, you know.
And also like you have say in your book that it's that societal acceptable
Yeah,
type of suicide
yeah,
that I am no longer the one that I don't like because now I'm awake. You know, I am now another I am now worthy. I haven't
Yeah.
been worthy my entire life. I've been full of shame and guilt, but now I'm awake. And you cannot shake that because if you start to shake that, I feel that I'm unworthy again and all the guilt and shame comes back. So I have to be awake. I have to have achieved this. I need to be there, and it needs to be something solid that I cannot lose. And do not debate me on that.
I mean, I
You
don't
know?
know who you're talking about, but that's never
No,
happened
no,
to me.
no. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not talking
nobody in
about.
particular.
I'm not.
I'm just, I'm
No,
just,
no, 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 no. I know,
Okay, I
no,
thought I
but
missed something.
no, no, no,
No, I
but
am not talking about
no, no,
anyone.
no, I know. Don't worry. You're talking about me. I've done that. Is
No,
basically,
no, okay. No, I didn't know that. I didn't, sorry,
yeah,
sorry, sorry. I didn't know
no,
that.
no, 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 it's totally
No, I
fine.
wasn't talking about anyone. Oh my gosh.
No, no, no. I was just making a joke that like
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like
described
the
I've
little
done.
Aussie that are digging her own grave without even knowing. Oh
No,
my.
no, 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 no. Don't worry. I was just joking. Yeah, there's no shame in that.
No, but I see that so much. And then when people come to the curriculum and they start to work with the second fetter and they start to see, oh wow, I have a toxic starting point. Everything in my life is that pinned in Google little man that is perceiving the world from the starting point of fear. I need to make sure everything is safe around me. Or from shame, I need to hide who I am because this is just disgusting. Then we realize that when we are chasing becoming awake, it is a suicide. You're trying to get rid of something of you that you do not deem worthy, that you do not love, that you do not have compassion towards, that you do not want anymore. Instead of embracing it and going like I said before with the depression, hello, my friend. Here you are. You know, I love you. You're welcome here. I can feel shameful. I can feel, lots of guilt and oh, that was that feeling arising. And then pick it apart and notice what is it actually that is happening. Can you be in a body where this is arising? There's this contraction, this nausea, this thing that is happening in my body. Can you be with that? Can you just stay with that? And that is where suffering ends and freedom really begins, because you can set yourself free and you can set everybody else free to be in the world the way that they are. They can have whichever labels they want. They can claim whatever they want to claim. You just have love and compassion towards it because you have love and you have that. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember when I was lying about myself too.
Yeah.
So there's
yeah,
no
yeah, yeah,
need
yeah.
there's no need to pull the rug under them. There's no need to do anything anymore. You're just compassionate.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
needs to start here.
Oh, totally. It's such a slight nuanced but completely different world then.
Yeah.
Because when I'm clambering to stay awake, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, House of Cards. But it's kind of for me, it's just like a traveling ever more like inward experience. And through
Mhm.
that, like kind of coming back out into the world. I don't know, it's very
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
paradoxical. But I feel like, yeah, you guys really also exude that, um, that basically you exude that and in your teachings and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to,
Love it. Thank you
Nice.
so much.
yeah, thanks so much. Enjoy.
Thank you
Come to
so
Mallorca. I live in Mallorca. If you're ever in Mallorca,
Oh,
Oh,
amazing.
amazing. Good to
yeah,
know.
That's
Yeah.
really good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
you're in
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Mallorca is wonderful. Where in
Yeah.
Mallorca is it?
A place called Dea. It's like
It's up
on
north, isn't it?
yeah, northwest. It's in the mountains.
Yeah, yeah. Lovely.
All right. It's good
Lovely.
to know.
Good.
Oh, my
Now,
email
now
address.
I want to go to Mallorca.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So good
No,
meeting
it's
you. So
really
good.
All
good
right.
Thank you
speaking
Thank
to
so
you
you.
so much,
much.
Thank you so
guys.
Thank
much.
you so
Yeah.
much.
See
Thank
you
you.
soon. Bye.
Bye. We have created a course of our first fetter material. This course will walk you step by step through all of the ways in which identification is created and selfing happens. If you've been struggling to see through the self structure or have that first awakening shift, this course contains hundreds of tools to help you discover the selfing mechanisms when they're happening. and then see through the illusion of identification that I created. Along with over 14 hours of videos, this $49 course contains a full book worth of summaries, extrapolations on the videos, written inquiry suggestions, and other text. So work slowly, leave time for integration. This is powerful material and it can be life-changing.